What do you call an IT nerd with a passion for personal finance? The black hole of fun. So tonight we're going to talk about budgets, specifically a monthly budget. We're gonna create a budget for your month to deal with that portion of your money. It's important that you have a cash flow plan that's bigger than your monthly budget, but tonight we're talking about your monthly budget, your monthly cash flow, your allocation of your budget that you bring home primarily. Okay, so we're going to talk about the concept of a zero-based budget, how that works, the importance and process of tracking your expenses during the month and taking those out of the proper categories so you know where you stand during the month. We want to talk about reconciling your records to your bank so you know that what you actually have agrees with the bank and make sure that there are no errors in your paperwork. And then we're going to show you a program that makes all of this super simple. Okay, the program is called YNAB, or You Need a Budget. And I'll put a link in the description below. So, the monthly budget. Some people think that the monthly budget is the black hole of fun, but you're the one who decides what goes into the budget. So, if it's a fun sucker, then that's your fault. Make your budget your budget. Tweak it, work with it, make it work for you. It's your budget, personalize it. Okay. Some basic rule of thumb for budgeting: if the simpler the better, as simple as possible and as complex as it needs to be. And that's the same way with categories. So let me just flip over. Let's start with a zero-based budget. Okay, so a zero-based budget, the concept is that you start with your balance at the first of the month. We'll just say $4,000 is your total take home for the month, your budget that you're going to work with on your budget. Total arbitrary numbers. The concept is you take this money and you assign every dollar a job. You give it a task to accomplish during the month, and you spend every dollar. So it's a zero-based budget, meaning you're spending every dollar in advance on purpose with a plan, and then during the month you follow that plan. And the whole purpose of a budget and a cash flow plan in general is that you want to make your money help you accomplish your goals and not just let it slide through the cracks. Look back years later and go, wow, I went through a lot of money, but I didn't really accomplish my goals. So we want to make sure cash flow planning and budgeting, we want to make sure that your money is doing what you want it to do. And so on a budget, you just start out, let's say these categories are categories that I just borrowed out of YNAB, or You Need a Budget, and we'll show you that later on here. But just take those numbers. I'm 10% for giving or tithing, and savings. We'll say we're gonna do a 15% there. Okay, and you just go through each one of these categories and you decide how much money you think you're going to need for the month, and you key that in. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat here, and we'll make this a little faster. Okay, so we've gone through the whole month. At the end, we've got all our categories satisfied, but we still have $65 left over, which is awesome if you come to the end and there's money left over, right? But we still need to give that money a job. If you have more money, you need to go back up here and say, okay, I'm going to throw that into stuff I forgot to budget for just in case. So that'll give you a little bit of leeway Or if you get to the end of the budget and it's negative, you come down here and you're negative, then you've got to adjust something, okay? So the idea is you want to give every dollar a job, but only one job, right? You don't want to have a negative at the bottom. So a 0 is perfect. We have all the categories. We have the money assigned where it needs to go. Okay. That's the easy part, right? We go through, we guesstimate. As you do it more and more, then you get pretty good at these numbers. Our budget now is a pretty quick process. You know, we can run through the budget, probably allocate funds in 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so as you go through the month, one thing I want to point out here is, where's my mouse? There it is. On these categories, these are expenses that you know you're going to have. You're going to have some maintenance on your home, your car. You're going to have insurance payments that come up every 6 months or every year. You're going to have medical that pops up on occasion. You're probably going to need some new clothes every once in a while, gifts, replacing your computer, whatever it may be. These are expenses that you don't have to deal with right now every month necessarily, but it's important to think about all the expenses in your life. Look at your year. If you're starting budgeting brand new, look at your entire year and go through and make sure that you don't miss any big expenses. You know, maybe put some money in for Christmas, put money in for insurances, any kind of big expenses, maybe a vacation. We got vacation in here, right? But anything that's going to be a big gotcha, then put money aside for that all year. It's easier to put $25 aside than have a bam $300 bill all of a sudden that you're scrambling to pay. Okay. So during the year or during the month, you've got your budget, you've allocated money. You have to track your money during the month. Okay, so there's a check. If you're still using checks, you can put the date in there, the description. So let's just say today's date is and mortgage. Category. So then you want to track. There it is. By category, how much that is. So in this example this is just a spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc that I have. In this example, it goes through and it adds to your category over here and tracks that. And so then you can compare that to your spreadsheet. Mortgage, $1,000, so you know your money is all gone. The thing that I always found was it was hard for me to track having my budget in one sheet and then having my account in a different sheet. I wanted some way to tie those together so when I spent money, it wouldn't just add up over here, but it would actually pull it from the category that I was using, and then I could just go back to my budget. It'd be nice to go back here and say, oh yeah, I already used this money, it's gone. And so you could track this if you threw another a column over here that says, you know, how much money have you used and how much money do you have left. You have something like this where you could say that equals this minus this, and that'll tell you how much money you have left, and you can just track that as you go. But it gets a little bit time consuming to just track that, but it is possible. You can track it manually if you want to. The next thing we want to talk about is keeping your accounts as you enter data into your check register. You need to keep track of your balance, which my balance is not working. My spreadsheet's broken. Okay, so That's beyond the point. We'll fix that. But you want to keep track of your money, your account. Say this is your checking account with your local credit union. You want to make sure that your balance agrees with the balance on your account. And that's really easy to log into your account, pull up the balance on your account online, compare that to this balance. If everything's gone through and you have a relatively low transaction quantity and things clear, it's pretty easy to do. But if you have a lot of things going through, you're going to have things that are pending or that things haven't hit your bank that you've already spent. And so it gets a little confusing to keep track of this all. But it's important that you do it. I know my kids, I talk to them about reconciling their checking account and they just look at me like I have three eyes. And so I need to do a little better job explaining that to them, that your balance in your records and the balance on your bank should agree. Okay? This is software. It's a web application, and there is an iOS or mobile application, iOS and Android. It's called You Need a Budget. So if you go to youneedabudget.com, I'll put a link down in the description where you can go to that. But You Need a Budget lets you create your budget, and then it also has your register right in the software. And so your budget, you've got the zero-based budget. You start with money. If you put something in your check register, you put a deposit in. We have the $4,000 deposited. This is money that is available to be budgeted. So we go to our budget, we have that $4,000 that we can budget. Okay. We can just go through the same process we did over there on the spreadsheet, and it takes the money out of the budget. You notice we're down to $2,400 at the top here. So you just go through and you assign that money a job. And then as you spend things, you can record transactions over here. And we're going to say this is the mortgage. Voila, our first transaction has been recorded. Okay, so we have all the money allocated. We have the zero-based budget, right? No more money to be budgeted. Everything's been allocated, been assigned a job. We did our first transaction with our mortgage. It pulls the activity of $1,000, subtracts it from that, and tells you the available money you have, $0 left. The nice thing about this is it's super easy to look at your money really quickly and say, hey, we want to go out to eat. And you just come down here, dining out. Okay, we have $50. We can go out and grab something inexpensive and we can go out to eat. And when you do that, you put that entry. We'll go to McDonald's because it's so awesome. It's my son's favorite. Dining out, we're going to spend $25 because we're taking the fam. Take everybody with us. We go back to the budget and we can see that we've spent $25 from the dining and we have $25 left in that category. So the concept, we have the budget, we give every dollar a job. I like to take a trick that I learned from Jesse at youneedabudget.com is build up a buffer of 1 month. So anything that you earn in January, you spend in February. I like that just because then you know the exact money you're actually working with. And this works really good if you work a job where you don't have a set dollar amount or salary, you have different amounts coming in all the time. That's nice to have everything you earned in the previous month be able to spend in the next month, because then when you do your budget, you're working with actual funds that you know you have. And so build up a buffer where you can have a month leeway on that. So we have the concept of building the budget. The next concept is to track that. So we're going to track that spending in the account. We're going to reconcile the account. And this is a fantastic thing with YNAB. If you hit this reconcile button at the top, it comes up and says, is your current account balance. So this is your account balance online that you're looking at your checking account or your bank account. If it says $4,000 is what you actually have in your account, then you say yes, and your account is reconciled. That's super awesome when you have 50 or 100 transactions going through every month, just to be able to go click yes and be done. That way, you know, just your records agree with your bank or your credit union, and things are golden. That's just a double check to make sure that the numbers are looking good. And YNAB makes this really simple. You can track it with spreadsheets. We used to, when we were first married, we tracked everything on a spreadsheet. We did our budget on a spreadsheet, and then we would split that into a different spreadsheet to track all the expenses. So it's possible to do, but I just wanted to show you YNAB. It is a pretty simple thing to use. Like I say, I'll put a link in the description below. In fact, there's one more thing I'll show you on YNAB. If you love YNAB, you can pay it forward. So if you love it, you can share the link with other people, and when they click on your link and they sign up, you get a free month. So one nice thing about YNAB is they give you a free month that you can take a look at the software, see if you like it. If you're a student, they will actually give you a free year. Yeah, so make sure you go over, grab your free month or your free year if you're a student, and start budgeting. You'll be amazed at how far you can stretch your money when you actually have a plan and follow that plan. Give yourself a break though. It's a little hard. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. Give yourself at least 3 months to adjust to the budget. Be flexible. If you over budget in one area and you under budget in another area, just move that money from one place to another and just learn what works for you. Happy budgeting. Remember that your money is making somebody rich. Is it you?